Rich millionaire brings mistress home and replaces his wife. Now he's desperate to get her back. Anthony Lancaster had it all: wealth, power, and a beautiful wife who stood by him through every triumph and setback. But when he brought his mistress home, replacing the woman who had built his empire by his side, he thought he was trading old love for new passion. He believed he had made the ultimate power move. What he didn't realize was that he wasn't just losing a wife, he was losing the one person who truly knew him. And when the world he so carefully crafted begins to unravel, he finds himself desperate for something money can't buy: a second chance. But some betrayals are unforgivable. And sometimes the one you push away is the one you'll regret losing forever. Stay with me, because this is a story of love, betrayal, and a fall from grace that no one saw coming. Anthony Lancaster was known throughout the bustling city of Lexington Heights as the epitome of success and affluence. He had come from humble beginnings, building his empire of luxury hotels, high-rise condominiums, and upscale restaurants, one painstaking step at a time. For the last decade, Anthony had stood at the pinnacle of achievement, gracing the covers of business magazines and rubbing shoulders with billionaires, once even sharing a private lunch with Bill Gates in Seattle to discuss potential philanthropic ventures. Yet behind the glittering facade was a man whose personal life was rapidly unraveling. At the center of his world was his wife, Sophia Lancaster, an elegant, poised woman who had supported him from the day he decided to open his first boutique hotel. At one point, their love seemed unbreakable, forged in the flames of adversity when they'd had barely enough money to pay rent. But power, wealth, and temptations had corroded Anthony's convictions. He found himself entranced by the allure of a younger woman, Carla Moreno, whose intoxicating presence upended everything he cherished. The story of how Anthony Lancaster brought his mistress home, effectively displacing his wife, only to realize his devastating mistake too late, reverberates through the social circles of Lexington Heights to this day. While few know the full account, whispers of betrayal, cunning manipulation, and heartbreak ripple across the corridors of high society. This is a tale not just of romance gone awry, but of redemption sought in the unlikeliest of places. What follows is the complete, unvarnished story of how Anthony's world, and everyone within it, changed forever. Anthony Lancaster had everything money could buy: a lavish mansion in Lexington Heights, holiday villas in the south of France, and an impressive collection of sports cars that seemed to grow larger every year. He also shared a long-standing marriage with Sophia, an inseparable partnership that had survived countless trials. However, with success came new stresses, an ever-expanding schedule of business travels and invitations to elite events where beautiful, charismatic people hovered like moths around the flame of his wealth and influence. It was at one such event, a late-night fundraiser hosted at the Palomino Hotel in Miami, that Anthony first encountered Carla Moreno. She was a rising star in the modeling world, sporting a sky-blue evening gown that clung to her slender frame. He'd just finished speaking with an old friend, Viktor Morozov, an investor who had introduced him once to Elon Musk in a private pitch meeting, and was making his way back to the bar when he noticed Carla standing alone. She sipped a glass of champagne, her dark eyes scanning the crowd with a bored expression. Something in the way she carried herself drew Anthony in. Perhaps it was the mixture of vulnerability and intense confidence. Sophia was in Lexington Heights that weekend, busy with a charity event of her own, so Anthony found himself drifting over to the mysterious woman by the bar. He struck up a conversation, offering to buy her a drink, and she responded with a knowing smile. Carla's father, a minor European aristocrat from Spain, had apparently lost his fortune years ago. Carla told the story with a detached calm that hinted at private pain. She had come to America hoping to find opportunity and success in modeling. "And maybe," she'd said, swirling her champagne, "someone who can help me navigate these dangerous waters." Her eyes flicked meaningfully to Anthony's, and in that moment he felt a shiver of forbidden intrigue course through him. Sophia had always been the center of his universe, but here, amid the flickering lights of the fundraiser, was someone who seemed like a mirror of his own ambitions, hungry, cunning, and yearning for more than what life had dealt her. Over the next few weeks, Carla became an unspoken fixture in his private hours. Anthony would fly her out to remote locations under the guise of business and arrange exclusive photo shoots through his PR connections. There was an electric thrill in their clandestine meetings, stolen touches in secluded corners, whispered phone calls in the dead of night, and illicit text messages that made his heart race like a teenager's. Sophia, ever trusting, believed Anthony's increased travel schedule was due to his escalating business empire. She was the charitable soul, spending her time organizing fundraisers, volunteering at local shelters, and writing heartfelt letters to potential donors for her philanthropic causes. The deception weighed heavily on Anthony at first. He would lie awake next to his unsuspecting wife, torn by guilt, questioning whether his life had gone off track. But inevitably, in the harsh light of day, Carla's magnetism drew him back. He justified it to himself, rationalizing that everyone in my position has these temptations. Months slipped by in this manner, each new day weaving a thread of secrecy into the tapestry of his once honest life. Carla demanded more of his time, more of his resources, and more of his emotional commitment. Soon it wasn't enough for them to meet in hidden locales. She wanted recognition, to be seen in public with him, to stand by his side. Anthony found himself torn between the stability and love of Sophia and the intense burning spark Carla ignited. Then came a moment that would change it all. One evening, Sophia returned from a friend's baby shower to find Anthony pacing anxiously in the living room. He had insisted she come home early, and his unusual urgent tone over the phone left her nerves on edge. When she walked in, she noticed he looked pale, like he hadn't slept in days. The entire house seemed to hum with unspoken tension. Before Sophia could even set down her purse, he said, "We need to talk." They took a seat in the formal living room. Anthony cleared his throat. He had planned a carefully worded confession, something that would minimize the damage, but the truth, once it began to spill, possessed a momentum of its own. He admitted he had been seeing Carla Moreno for several months, that Carla had become someone important to him. The color drained from Sophia's face as he spoke, and she struggled to keep her composure. How could you do this?" she asked, her voice trembling despite her best attempt at steadiness. Anthony mumbled something about their emotional distance, about how he felt neglected while she focused on charities. It was a cheap excuse, and they both knew it. The flicker of heartbreak in Sophia's eyes told him he had crossed an unforgivable line. Yet, rather than beg for forgiveness and promise to end the affair, Anthony made the catastrophic decision to double down. He confessed that Carla was planning to move to Lexington Heights, and that he wanted her near him, no matter the cost. Sophia couldn't believe what she was hearing. Outraged and devastated, she demanded he break off contact with Carla immediately, but to her growing horror, Anthony refused. He insisted he cared for Carla and wasn't willing to end it. A sickening realization washed over Sophia. Her husband wasn't just having an affair. He was thinking about rewriting their life entirely. Through tears, Sophia gave an ultimatum. "Either you end it with Carla and commit to counseling with me, or we're done." Anthony responded with a cold confidence that took her breath away. "I can't lose Carla," he said, his voice raw. "I want you to stay, Sophia, but things can't go back to how they were. If you can't accept this arrangement, I don't know what to tell you." She stared at him, her heart pounding in her chest, the reality of betrayal ripping through her. Never had she dreamed that the boy who once vowed everlasting love would stand before her and propose such a twisted scenario. A sob choked out of her throat, and she fled up the stairs, slamming the bedroom